Good morning. Good morning, Monty. Cannot get too much done, and that's right. Hi, Patty. And Ayurveda Beisha. Should I call you Beisha? Let me know what kind of your name of greeting is. I see you here often, so thank you for showing up. Sometimes it's hard to tell who folks are by their tag on here. I can tell that things have opened up again in the okay, great. Um, in our economy, there's lots of noise outside here at the barber's. It's just outside the door. I'm not used to that. You're welcome. Today's talk and practice might be a little bit shorter, as some of us are attending a retreat that also begins at 10 online. Hi, Cassie. Cassie and Monty are also joining that retreat. So with myself attending, so we might end this at 9:45. So we have a little break there, or we'll just see how it goes. My intention is for this to be shorter, also because we'll see what comes. But that's the intention at this moment. I would like to start with this statement of commitment from True North Insight and all of the volunteers and board and staff and teachers, and our commitment to dismantling oppression and racism, not just good morning, Geeti, not just acknowledging it, but what we are doing to move towards the dismantling of these systems. Of course, this is, well, as we all know, prompted by the murder of George Floyd was kind of the match that struck the flame, but there's so many before and ongoing violences and against Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So I would just like to state this, and it's on our True North Insight website. Good morning, Supriya. If anybody wants to read more, and there's resources there as well. So we've been doing a lot of this work for many years now, but have added, or it's ongoing, of course. So we're training and financially supporting more Black and Indigenous and people of color teachers. Of course, our teaching staff has been predominantly white, and how can people feel encouraged that this is a safe place, first of all, to practice, or to be inspired to become a teacher when they're already not represented? So at some point, this literal support and shift has to be made to make it a safe place for that to happen. So there's a creation of a new fund that is particularly to support financially, like, I see, there's lots of statements out there with businesses, and somebody was posting the other day, put your money where your mouth is. Like, this system actually has to change for this to happen. So this fund, if you're able to support or to be supported by, to support Black, Indigenous, POC teachers, Dharma teachers. We're also at this time offering free registration for Black and Indigenous and POC, people of color, for all of our upcoming online retreats. We're working on having our practice spaces be accessible and to represent the deepest values of our practice. Good morning, Linda and Kathy, Terry, hi, and Patricia. We're also working, there's a White Caucus group for teachers that are doing a year-long program with Ruth King to to discover and uproot our own inherent biases and learn about that and be in safe space to do that work, but also starting a white identified caucus group that will be open to anybody, to Sangha members, where we can learn without feeling worried we're going to get it wrong, and to understand our own privilege and how to dismantle that. We're increasing the number of what's called BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, People of Color retreats. We already have some, but more. And we also have a weekly sitting for BIPOC identified folks that anyone can join. And we also have a weekly a queer Sangha, LGBTQIA Sangha, which is open to, it's peer-led, very wonderful Sangha. And so there's inclusion scholarships as well for people to be supported to attend these retreats, understanding the whole systemic nature of oppression. On our website, there's a list of resources for equality and inclusion. So truenorthinsight.org, that is available. And on that note, good morning, Rebecca. Good morning to the whole Sangha, and to folks that aren't on the chat that I know are here, for showing up every time your presence is felt. And so on that note, I also want to encourage for anybody, I know folks are kind of calling in from other communities further afield, but for anybody in the Center Wellington area, next Saturday, which is the 20th, yes, Saturday, June 20th, in the afternoon from 12 to 3. Yeah, 12 to 3. There is a peaceful march starting in town at Victoria Park in Fergus, a chance for Center Wellington community to come together in solidarity, to support and state that Black lives matter, that Brown lives matter, that our Indigenous people matter, and that we're telling our community, you know, making a statement. So all the bodies that can show up, everybody makes a difference. And from all backgrounds, all folks are welcome. And there's lots of safety, you know, COVID protocols in place. So wearing masks and keeping distance. And if you have any symptoms, staying home, all of these things that we're doing at this time for taking care of each other anyways. So please check that out. If you aren't on Facebook, to join that event page on Facebook, you could contact me, email me through True North Insight or River Sound Retreat, and or I can put my contact info here if you don't have it, and I'll send you the information for that rally. So it'd be really great to see lots of folks, and we'll have virtual 6 feet hugs. And I think these things really matter. That and it's not safe for everybody, depending on your community and conditions, to be out in a large group like that. So understanding that. But if you're able to, this show of, I don't know how to say this word without force, the show of force, without being aggressive, but the show of force of no more is important. That's an understatement. Yeah, so I wanted to talk today about joy. And it feels maybe an antithesis to this time of, dark times, painful times, times of hatred, times, and I know that even saying that is so wrong, times of like, this time, it's like every day. Many people live with this fear of going outside, fear of how they're going to be seen, fear of physical, mental, emotional abuse because of the color of their skin every day. So when I say this time, I'm recognizing it is not just this time, but right now there is a groundswell happening saying no more, and a real sense of intending to a strong sense of intending to carry this forward, to not let this be the movement of the day, that the system has to change. So to get us through this time, to keep us with any sense of resilience, which we so need, it is skillful, wise, at all the times through our practice, but I think even more so now than ever, to also practice joy, because we can, feel so oppressed and so overwhelmed and so downtrodden that it immobilizes us, numbs us, cuts us off, and we have already in our biology an inherent negativity bias. It's part of our survival mechanism. It's built into this animal being to the whole system gives more synaptic connection to danger, to negativity. And that's been shown in science, but also shown in our experience, right? We know that. And so we really have to have a strong intention to be mindful of, to cultivate the practices of joy. There's two aspects of joy, piti and mudita. I'm not going to get into a lot of Pali today. I just want to talk about joy. And the understanding with this aspect, one of these aspects of joy, is that it is part of our inherent nature, and it is boundless. This is an amazing thing. Some guided meditation practices, they talk about radiating loving kindness or radiating joy. And to me, that language misses it, for my body anyways, a little bit. It's already radiant. It's already boundless. Awareness is infinite and everywhere, continual, all the time, from before time was time. And the nature of that awareness is loving, kind, accepting, joyful, compassionate, and equanimous. And sometimes we can tap into that. Sometimes we can touch that knowing and let our body, heart, mind, being remember its true nature. And there's practices that can help us do that. Great, let's do it. It's training. So the training is not to get this or to be this. The training is to uncover, to remember, and to help that grow and cultivate that nature. And I know many of us may feel quite like, that's not been my nature, or that's nothing I've been raised with or known. But when we're tapping into that truth, I have a dear friend who's been in a great deal of pain and having to stay inside and immobile and at times, and outside her window is this beautiful robin's nest with the babies through their stage of being hatched and beginning to be fed, and sometimes she shares the photos with me of the through the slats, and how much joy that's brought her, how much peace and beauty and connection and happiness. And so her allowing that to touch her being reminds her that these aren't her words, so I apologize if I'm putting words into somebody's experience, but what I see or what I hear is that it touches into that, like, it's not because of the birds. The birds remind us of love, connection, beauty, simplicity, joy. It's a remembering. And then just by the act of sharing that with me and me hearing about it, I feel that. And maybe you're feeling it in this moment as well. This is the mudita aspect of joy. It's resonant, harmonic joy, where we experience the remembering of joy from the beauty that others are experiencing. This gladdened heart, and in often, very most often, simple, what we would call simple pleasures. The big joy of like, what, I won the lottery. Well, it's been proven that winning the lottery actually makes, soon people go back to their regular level of happiness, or it gets worse. And so, it's really these things. Another friend was sharing the other day of this year having a home where she's able to return to having her own vegetable garden, which is something from earlier days that she grew up with, and to be able to just the joy of having the vegetables growing there, and what that touches is bringing this quality. And the simplicity of being able to just sit and watch the leaves moving in the wind. I've been spending time watching hummingbirds. That's why I posted a picture of a hummingbird this morning, but so delightful, so joyful. I think I have a hummingbird poem today. Can I bring that? There's so many great poems about joy. Here's one. That sounded like Rosemary. Here's one, friends. She called her own friends. Rosemary would tell a trome, or I don't know why I said it like that, drummer. Uh, this is called extrapolation. Today it's the hummingbirds that save me. Not because I see one, because I don't. Every year the broad-tailed hummingbirds arrive at our feeders the third week of April. This year they've yet to arrive. How many other joys have I been awaiting that are yet to materialize? It's hard to spend a life waiting, and yet this one impatience I meet with trust. Every year there are hummingbirds. They return, and when they come, we'll feed them. We'll admire their furious wings. We'll forget they were late. We'll delight in their curious hum. So sweet. So sweet. So I think that our gardens and nature are quite a surefire way. And I heard from a teacher yesterday, Pascal was sharing how doing his walking meditation, in the city of Montreal, in his apartment, and just doing his walking meditation in the hallway, and how much the floor creaks with every step. I know, I'm pretty sure I've experienced annoyance with that before, but I certainly have heard students say, "Oh, I can't do walking there. The floor is driving me nuts. Creak, creak, creak." We have this at my yurt studio. Creaks a lot, and but it was filling him with joy. This creaking sound, and just hearing, just the bare act of walking, the simplicity of walking. Really nice. So cheerfulness or delight is not like a spiritual bypassing kind of, I'm just gonna feel happy no matter what. It's attuning ourselves to open the sense doors, to see the orchid, to see the butterfly, to see the food, to taste, to smell, to feel the breath, to see hands, if we're able to see, to feel, touch. All of these things are available all the time and not noticed because of this tendency, the groove of the survival mechanism of the heart mind to give more awareness to negativity. So this cheerfulness is deeper than temporary pleasures, temporary conditions. The day doesn't have to, we don't have to be free of pain. We don't have to have sunshine. We don't have to have anything to experience this type of, to find and cultivate and know these types of sweetness. And it's very skillful to allow ourselves to look for them and to know them. And yeah, the joy of being alive, our natural radiance of mind. Okay. Sharon Salzberg says that the book called Mudita, Resonant Sympathy, Harmonic Joy, the mind deliverance of gladness. I have the mind deliverance of gladness. So gladness, sweetness, joy, delivers the mind, it liberates the mind from suffering. we don't cling and like, oh, go stay hummingbird and stay rainbow, and then we're back into suffering. But just it's even sweeter because we understand its impermanence. It's even sweeter, that raspberry, because we see its true nature, that it's not in the raspberry, it's in the being present. So this quality of gladness of heart is an important balancing factor for equanimity of heart and mind, stability, the ability to ride the waves. We're in the waves, big time. And so important and helpful to practice this way. I have another dear friend who's really on the front lines of living with oppression, and she shares posts of the joy of the food that she's able to make for herself, the food that resonates with her values of non-harm for all beings, and her connection to the garden and nature, and just that moment of sharing, or even not if it's shared, but just noticing our food. Is it feeding this body with joy, this heart, this mind, this world? Lovely. Because we're in the waves of the 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows. This is the nature of life all the time. And equanimity is what allows us to carry on. And equanimity is fed and balanced by joy. All right. I think that's enough. Anything else? Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'm talking to myself. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we'll end a little bit earlier today so that those of us attending the retreat can have a little break before that starts at 10. So thank you for allowing this to be a bit shorter. I put the link down below that goes to the True North Insight page where you can support Black, Indigenous, people of color teachers. So there's more teachers, and also the fund to support people to attend retreats that need those that need that support. And this is not to say that all BIPOC people need that support, but there is a systemic, very deep and large systemic inequality that this is trying to address. Okay, and do I want to read that poem? Yes, and then we'll go into our practice. So this is another way to practice cultivating joy, is by turning our awareness to gratitude. And lots of people take this up as a formal practice to keep a gratitude journal, or just as you're lying in bed at night, or to begin your day, and just reflect on 5 gratitudes of the day. And it is often these simple things of like a hand that works. You're welcome. So this is Small Gratitudes by Rosemary Watola Tromer. It was one of those days when the alarm didn't go off, and we woke anyway to a world covered in snow, and by noon the sky was blue. And I drove right through the construction zone without being stopped by a flagger. The tomato for breakfast was ripe and sharp and sweet, and the tea was strong and black. The radio played only songs I wanted to sing. My car started. I had no flat tires. I never felt sick, never fell. More blessings, it turns out, than a woman can count, though I try to count them all. And the more I remember, a good friend called. All 10 fingers are intact. My eyes still see across a room. Yes, the more blessings I consider, the more my joy grows until I am dumbfounded, gobsmacked by gratitude that's exactly the size of the known universe. Amazed by how perfectly it fits, as if I were made for this, right inside my skin. There's so much I love about this poem. It has the word gobsmacked in it. It's already awesome. But that it speaks to the simple things, speaks to, if we really try to list all the gratitudes, like Thich Nhat Hanh says, the no toothache. We notice when we have a toothache, but do we notice? Oh, no toothache today. How awesome. That's great practice. So these things she's pulling out, but I really also love, not but, and I also love at the end, to me it speaks to that this joy grows till it's exactly the size of the known universe. I would also say the unknown universe. Amazed by how perfectly it fits, as if I were made for this, right inside my skin. This is that boundless quality I was talking about in the beginning, that the Brahma Viharas, these divine abodes of love and joy and compassion and equanimity, are boundless. They truly are. That's not a concept. And it all exactly fits within our skin. This is, ah, okay, let's practice that. Yes, yes, yes. So sitting, standing, or reclining in a way that is super kind, that is a way that already is inviting joy. Maybe a soft touch of fabric or a pillow to hold, or having an animal companion nearby if you have one in your home. It might be joy-inducing today for you to have your eyes open if you're near a window that brings in some light, or flowers or birds or sounds. Allow yourself to rest into this quality of joy that's always here, of just being here in a body. This body that woke up and is breathing today. And this body that is supported by the ground holding it, not separate from. As you soften into the support that you are being met with, the intention to cultivate and invite a sense of gladness, simple gladness, delight, appreciation, gratitude. joy in your virtues, your ethical conduct. And it's all right to use recollection to recall the joy of something that touches your heart, a child's laugh, puppies playing, sound of heart-opening music. And see how that feels in the body to recall these things or to be aware of them right now. It's also skillful to be aware of the good fortune of others, the accomplishments, the virtues, the happiness that we see others experiencing, and let that touch us in a way that we too feel the happiness that others are feeling. Joy and happiness are like love. They increase when they're shared. So from this felt experiencing within you right now, perhaps thinking of a friend with one of these simple joys that I've shared, somebody that you know that something delightful has happened, or they're watching birds and nature, or they're having a day without pain. And allow this wish, may your joy, may the joy you experience continue to grow. May the gladness and good fortune you experience continue. Wishing for this dear one, may you be filled with joy and gratitude. And then bringing into your heart-mind awareness, someone that's called in the teachings a benefactor. This can be a teacher, a mentor, a support in your life. It could be an animal, a companion that it feels like they've taught you and supported you in some way. Uh, just see who arises for you here. What being could be a family member. And even though they may not be experiencing perfect happiness or unbridled joy right at this time, know that this has happened for them. Big and small things, past and present, and we're growing this wish for that to grow for them. May the joy you experience continue to grow. May your good fortune continue. May you be filled with joy and gratitude. Feel these sensations of this wish within your own awareness, your own being, connected with this benefactor. Now we'll bring to awareness someone there's a difficulty in the relationship, some unrest or confusion, unresolved dissatisfaction. It's helpful to not choose the most challenging person in your life because this tends to close the heart. So just something where there's some unresolved or confusion, unrest. And know that this being also wishes to be happy and to know and experience joy. And feel this wish being cultivated within your own heart for this being. May the joy you experience grow, continue. May the joy you experience continue to grow. May your good fortune continue. May you be filled with joy and gratitude. And for these last few minutes of the meditation, let's touch into this boundless quality that already is, that um, perfectly fits inside our own skin, but is absolutely boundless. So even if you think you're just imagining it or visualizing it, just fake it till you make it. Just for a moment, touch your toe into this infinite ocean. Infinite awareness is loving. compassionate, equanimous, and joyful. Stay resting in your awareness and allow the joy of these three bells to resonate through your being and through all time and space. May all beings everywhere know true joy. We need this joy to continue stepping forward and speaking up and engaging in the practice of compassion, responding to the suffering of the world. So please allow yourself and look for and foster the growth of joy in your life. Thank you for understanding, ending a little bit earlier today so we can have a little break. Those of us that are joining the retreat with Joseph and Pascal and Roxanne at 10. Thank you. Wishing you peace.